Evan, thanks very much for spending some time with us and giving us your knowledge. And just saying before, probably close on 20 years since we first met doing control room work in the same suburb we're in now.
Yes.
So, can you just tell us a little bit about yourself and your role with Rechenberg's and what you've done?
Okay. Yeah. Well, as you say, I've been involved with control rooms for about 22 years. Wasn't really something that I'd planned to get involved in, but I ended up actually working with Rechenberg's. That's 22 years ago.
Okay, so that was your first role?
That was my first role with Gordon, and straight into the monitoring. That was my main role then.
Yeah.
And in that role, learned a bit about the actual security systems themselves and a little bit of tech stuff, but didn't get too involved in that. Back then, used to do a bit of patrol work as well.
Oh, right.
A bit of multitasking.
Yeah.
So it was, you did what you had to do, really.
Yeah. Was that type of industry? Wasn't
That type of industry, yeah. And the big thing, yeah, it was 24 hours, so there always had to be someone there. That's the thing with the monitoring station. It always has to work. There's no, I don't feel good today, I can't do it, or something like that.
Turn the phones off, the computers off, and go home.
As much as some days we'd love to,
Yeah.
you just can't. It's always got to be there, and there's someone always has to be there, and it's just got to keep on going. So
I know I asked this of Michael before, but what type of person and what type of skills, having been there and done that, what do they need if they want to be a successful person in the monitoring industry? 20 years.
Yeah.
Life sentence.
Life sentence, that's for sure. I think you have to be, adaptability is a big thing. You have to be able to adapt to different situations, different stress levels. Quite often in a control room environment, depending on your workload, obviously, it can be very quiet, and you can have days that are boring.
Mm-hmm.
Some people won't believe me, but it's true. Yeah. You can have days that are boring. You have to be able to get through that. You have to be ready or able to adapt at any minute. Go from basically idle to 100 miles an hour, or 100 kilometres an hour, in an instant. As soon as the phones start ringing, you need to be able to just up your level.
For the responsive.
And it's all about making sure the job gets done. The customers are paying you to provide a service. You need to be able to adjust your level to suit and do it very quickly. Someone that can multitask and somebody confident, I think, in their own abilities. You don't necessarily have to be an outgoing person, but if you do have that sort of personality and you can portray that on the phone, that can be an advantage. But you have to be confident in yourself and confident to take a task and make sure it gets done.
Okay. And eye for details?
Details definitely helps. Obviously, as long as you can follow instructions and do that repeatedly, you've got to be, I guess, relentless in a way.
Yep.
You've got to be able to do the same thing over and over and over and do it correctly and have, just be the type of person that wants to own that task and just get it done.
Okay, so taking ownership and just accepting the repetitive nature sometimes of the job.
That's right. Yeah, it's a funny game because you do the same thing a lot. There is a lot of repetition, but there is also so many different variances.
Yeah.
That a lot of the time it's purely experience that will get you. That will learn that for you.
So, and in a management role, because you're the control room manager there at Rechenberg's, what advice would you give somebody who's looking to get into the management area? Skills, qualifications, experience?
Yep, I think obviously you need to have a fair grasp of what's involved in the monitoring and what your operators are going through. I think you obviously need to be committed to the role, because as soon as you step into any sort of management role, generally across the security industry, in my experience, it becomes it's a 24/7 industry. Yep. And obviously depending on the setup of the company, sometimes you're on call whether you like it or not. That's part of the job. And once you become management, you're essentially not allowed to turn your phone off, unless you go on holiday somewhere.
Comes with the territory.
That's right.
Yeah, it gets attached to you. What role do you think training can provide with both the management side and also for operators?
Probably on the management side, I think there's probably room for training in efficiencies, and almost down to sort of some sort of small scale project management or process management.
Yeah.
Because that's once you move into management, there's supervision is a part of the job, but also trying to affect and improve the processes and maintain those processes, and you're forever trying to make them better. And wherever you identify a lapse in process, you need to be able to look at ways to fix that and make sure it doesn't happen again.
So you've got to be able to identify the gaps that there are in processes or the risk management side of it.
I think that's at a management level, that's an important part of it, and because if it's because it's such a process-driven job, really.
Yep.
If you've got a mistake there, it's going to get repeated unless you fix it.
Yep.
And you need to, and if you're proactive and you can see those things coming, and fix them before you have the issue, all the better.
Yep.
But you definitely need to be able to identify where there are problems and fix those when you do identify them. So I think some training in those sorts of areas is probably...
So training, project management, risk assessment, risk awareness, probably the time management area.
Definitely, yeah.
So those types of overall risk and business skills.
Yeah.
Training.
And I think because of the type of industry and the size of the particularly the monitoring side, they're not so much specific role-related training that's needed. I think it's sort of
more generic across.
More generic,
yeah.
But they're essential components of what it makes to be good at it. And I think the same goes for your operators, where if training in specific things such as telephone skills, message taking skills.
Active listening.
Also awareness, multitasking, reading, interpreting. And then down to even generic training in how to handle email systems, how to handle some basics in electronics and how things work.
So your basic office software programs and that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And your internal softwares.
Yeah, and I think if someone can have skills in those, it's definitely going to be a benefit in the job. So if it's something that you don't need to be taught, it's something that can make your job more efficient, then an employer is going to look favourably at that.
Be a bit of a non-question really, after 20 years or so in the industry. Is it something that you would recommend people going into?
I definitely would, really. I mean, it's there's a lot of potential for it. There's a lot you can achieve. It's quite satisfying for the right person. And one of the beauties of the industry is the pace of change within it. Things are constantly changing because it's so technologically driven. Things are constantly changing, so you're always learning. There's always something new to learn. There's always more study to do. There's, you know, a new alarm panel, a new computer system.
It's an ongoing learning process.
Ongoing learning, and there's always challenges.
So how do you relax when you're not facing your challenges?
Me?
Even though you've got your phone on you all the time.
Yeah. Well, also I ride a motorbike, so I like to get away on that. And the beauty of being on a motorbike is as long as you're not plugged into an earpiece, you can't answer the phone. So you do get away for a couple of hours. And
don't tell the boss.
No, that's right.
So what you get on the bike and just go for a
go away for the weekend, even you know, a couple of hours ride up in the hills, and the crisp morning air is always sorts things out. And
clears the mind.
Clears the mind, clears the air conditioning, and
So it's good.
very good.
All right. Well, thanks very much, Adam.
No problem.
Really appreciate your time.